Hello, Taurus, and welcome to my channel, Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs, looking at your connection to the person that you are dealing with and needing to learn the most from right now. We're looking at all three sides of it. We've got your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it. The concept being that there are three sides to every story. So looking at your perspective, their perspective, and this higher level unbiased perspective in the middle, really looking at what is the purpose of this connection and what is the best way to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. As always, I've gone ahead and pulled the overall energy for the reading and clarified those messages, which we'll jump into in just a second. We have a different tarot deck that we'll be using for each side of this connection that I already have shuffled, as well as the advice deck that I'll be using in the extended. Any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading with me is in the description box below. Last thing, please remember these are general readings. They are not here to resonate fully for everyone. So do remember to take what resonates and helps your personal situation and leave what does not. On that note, these energies can absolutely be swapped. So if you resonate more with the energy to my right than to my left, or if you're a cross watcher, then vice versa, just know that that is totally fine and totally normal. Again, the point is for you to take what helps your personal situation and leave what does not. All right. Okay. Before I jump in, because I usually start over here, I want to talk about, because we'll go through it in a second, but on your side, you have this Knight of Wands in reverse, and then they have this Page of Wands in reverse. Now, I actually feel like that card is alluding to each other's energy. So on your side of this connection, Taurus, you have boundaries with the Knight of Wands in reverse. So what I'm reading this as is this person struggles with being able to be fully vulnerable. I feel like they struggle with opening up. They might be a little bit of a self-sabotager, you know what I mean? And boundaries are like the most important thing for you in this regard. Now, on the flip side, I feel like they have this Page of Wands in reverse with this past life card. This person is definitely a past life connection for you, or a reflection of a connection that you were dealing with in a past life, maybe even in childhood. Now, I feel like this is such a complicated way to start a reading, so bear with me, because I actually feel like this is really cool the way that this is coming out, because I feel like this person, I don't feel like they have the emotional capacity that you're needing, but I feel like this is also kind of a cycle for you in connection. So I don't know. I feel like there's a lot going on already. And then in between this connection, you have growth with the Three of Swords in reverse. So you are kind of, this connection's in like a healing phase. I don't know if it's still together or not. I don't know if you're just feeling like you're needing to kind of heal from it right now, even if it is together. But the purpose of this connection is really to push both people in this to grow. And that growth, I feel like, is ultimately, it has to do with this Page and this Knight, but I don't know. Usually I feel like I can get pretty clear with these overall energies, but not with this one. But okay, Taurus, let's start by looking at your side of this connection, especially because those are both like fire signs, right? But like fire sign energy with the Page and the Knight of Wands. But I feel like specifically because of the messages that they portray is the reason that they needed to come out as fire sign energy. You could be dealing with a fire sign. You definitely don't have to be. But yeah, okay. Let's start, Taurus, by looking at your side of this connection. This is Taurus's energy toward the person they are dealing with. This is Taurus's energy toward the person they are dealing with. One more. This is Taurus's energy toward the person they are dealing with. This is Taurus's side of this connection. Seven of Swords in reverse, 10 of Swords in reverse, 5 of Cups in reverse. Oh my goodness, Queen of Swords in reverse. 3 of Cups in reverse. Okay, yeah, all right, I get what's going on here. And there's the Page of Wands in reverse on the back of the deck. All right, so I feel like slowly but surely, certain things about this person or about this connection started coming to light. And I feel like it was very painful. I feel like it got you into this energy upright. Now, you have it in reverse, but I feel like it was this 10 of Swords and this 5 of Cups, just feeling very hurt, feeling very disappointed. And you could still very well be dealing with this energy, but I feel like you're working through it at this time. And with the Queen of Swords in reverse, it almost feels like, so I do feel like things fell apart in this connection. And I feel like it kind of made you kind of close your heart off a little bit. And I feel like it's because of, I don't want to say like the intensity behind it necessarily, but like maybe the intensity behind it or just how painful it truly was. But I feel like there's a reason that it was as painful as it was, and it's because of this Page of Wands in reverse energy. It's almost like it was reflective of some inner child energy for you. This could also be a reading with like a parent. Parents can be our karmic connections too, you know. But I feel like there's a lot going on in this reading already, and we have pulled one message. So I'm kind of excited to see what we have going on here. All right, this is Taurus's side of this connection. I just feel like there's kind of this need to protect yourself from this person right now, though, Taurus. This is Taurus's side of this connection. The Fool in reverse or the Ten of Wands in reverse. Yeah, because, okay, you have this Knight of Wands in reverse, which is definitely this person's energy. And they definitely struggle with, like, you know, like I said, being vulnerable, a little bit of self-sabotage and things like that. And I feel like for the longest time, because this Ten of Wands in reverse is like dropping the burdens of others. For the longest time, I feel like you took on the burden of that. It's like maybe you knew that they were a bit of a self-sabotager, or maybe you knew they were going through a hard time, or maybe you knew why they had trouble being vulnerable and you were very empathetic toward that. But it ended up doing more damage to you than actually benefiting the connection and benefiting this person. And so with the Fool in reverse, it does kind of feel like you're headed towards some sort of a new beginning. I don't know whether it's in this connection. I don't know. Maybe you're already in a new beginning with another connection. And the reason, because remember, it's the person you're dealing with and needing to learn the most from right now. That doesn't necessarily mean the person you are dealing with right now, but it's the person you're needing to learn the most from right now. And so I feel like it's like you've taken on the burdens of this person, their like emotional unavailability, or like their self-sabotage, even like you tried to help them through it or something like that. And it kind of feels like you can't, like you can't do that anymore. Like, not that you, I don't know, like it's like maybe you want to be there for them, but you don't know how to. This is Taurus's side of the connection. You don't know how to be there for them and also look out for yourself, right? This is Taurus's side of the connection. There's the Hangman and the Temperance in reverse. And there you are, the Queen of Pentacles. And there's that Fool again with the Eight of Swords. And the Devil. So there's a little bit of an attachment here, possibly even a level of codependency. And I feel like this person really depended on you. You could have depended on them too. Again, codependency. But it's like usually that codependency is stemming from like looking for each other to fill a void in an unhealthy manner, right? But I feel like because this person had this Knight of Wands in reverse, it almost feels like they looked to you to solve a lot of problems that they created themselves. Or even like they created a lot of problems for themselves and then kind of made it your problem. I'm not saying this is a bad person by any means, and we'll definitely see what they're dealing with. But I feel like this connection, it just became very frustrating for you. And it not just frustrating, it kept on grounding you. It's like instead of being a source of grounding and certainty and safety and love, this person became a source of stress and insecurity, and it became unhealthy. I don't feel like it was always that way, but I feel like it did over time become pretty unhealthy for you to invest in this. This is Taurus's side of this connection. This is Taurus's side of this connection, please. Taurus's side of the connection to the person in this reading. Taurus' side of this connection. The Emperor in reverse, the Hangman in reverse. Okay. I feel like for a long time, and maybe you're still kind of stuck in this energy, you were trying to get this person to be something that they're not. Maybe trying to get them to open up, to be a little bit more open-minded, to be a little bit more vulnerable, to do some inner work, to see how they hurt you. And I feel like that led you to more and more disappointment and more pain. It's like every time you tried to like make this connection be what it wasn't, you ended up with disappointment. And you were holding on. Maybe you are still holding on. But I don't feel like all Tauruses are holding on still. I feel like there's a lot of you out there that have tried to let this go because of how unhealthy it became for you. Because I feel like you got to a point, or at least you're getting to a point, you could kind of be on the verge of it, but getting to a point where you're like, I can't do this anymore. I can't take on this person's burdens and take care of myself at the same time, which is true. You can't do that with anyone. But I do feel like it was really difficult for you to let go of this. And it has been really difficult for you to let go of this, even if you want to. Taurus' side of this connection. Taurus' side of the connection to this person. Queen of Cups, Empress in reverse. You could be dealing with a water sign. You don't have to be. And then there's that Ten of Swords in reverse again. Three of Wands. Because with the Empress in reverse, you weren't putting yourself first in this. And it really affected you. Is affecting you. I mean, I'm talking in past tense, but take this as it resonates. It's like the more that you put someone else's needs above your own, the more that you're going to feel betrayed. Not just by the other person for not being able to provide you for what you deserve, but also for yourself, right? For not, or for giving more than you're receiving. And so I feel like this started affecting you like quite a bit. And it is affecting you quite a bit. And I feel like that's why it kind of feels, Taurus, like this is about you getting to your breaking point. Like getting to a point where you're like, I can't do this anymore. Like, yeah, it feels like you're like, I can't do this anymore. Taurus' side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. Taurus' side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. See, okay, there's the Ten of Pentacles in reverse, and you have the Ten of Cups, and there's the King of Wands. So again, you could be dealing with fire sign. I don't even know why I call those out, because it really doesn't matter. But then you have the Three of Wands in reverse, the Eight of Swords in reverse, Eight of Cups, Judgment in reverse, Three of Pentacles. Okay. See, you do see a long term. You see this person as a potential for being in your life long term with the Ten of Cups. But I feel like you feel so taken for granted, because the Ten of Pentacles in reverse, right? Like an energy of being kind of taken for granted. That it's like you're trying to be there. You're trying to be what this person needs, but they're not really trying to be what you need. They're not trying to meet you where you want to be met. And it's like you see this long-term potential, but then it's like that potential is never realized. That potential is never reached. You're always left feeling like you're getting the short end of the stick, or like you're always showing up for this person, but they're not showing up for you. And I feel like it has heavily affected not just like the way that you feel, because of course that's going to affect the way that anyone feels, but like the way that you feel about yourself. It feels like someone's proving to us over and over again that we're not deserving of, them showing up or them loving us the way that we deserve, we're going to start to internalize it as a belief that we are not deserving, or, lovable, or whatever the case is for you. And so I do feel like this is about you realizing, yes, you see this long-term potential, but you can't invest in something or in someone because of what they could be, right? You have to invest in someone for who they are in that moment or not at all. It's like, let people be who they are and adjust your proximity accordingly, right? The most loving thing, that's actually the most loving thing that you can do. Trying to change someone is actually the most unloving thing that you can do. But I feel like there's more here, though. I do. I feel like there's more going on here than just that. So let's see what, because the Page of Wands in reverse in past life, this is definitely, this goes deeper than just like what we've seen so far. All right, this person's energy toward Taurus, clarifying the Page of Wands in reverse in past life. This person's energy toward Taurus, please. This person's energy toward Taurus, please. One more. This person's energy toward Taurus. You make them very emotional. Queen of Pentacles with the Knight of Cups in reverse. And I feel like that emotional aspect to this connection is what makes this person feel the most uncomfortable. Because they struggle with vulnerability, remember? And so I feel like that's, because this person I feel like is one of those, especially for those people who struggle to be vulnerable, and I've been there before, I've been one of those. It's hard. If they struggle to be vulnerable, they're going to do whatever they can to avoid that having to be the case. And so if a connection makes them feel really emotional or triggers them or pokes at them in any way, shape, or form, what they're going to do is they're going to try to control it, try to do what they can to control the connection, to keep you as the one that that's in like the unsafe position, I guess, right? Like, for instance, you see it all the time with like what's a good example of that? Like, you see it all the time in like today's day and age, like people who struggle to be vulnerable, what they'll do is they'll try to turn the person that makes them feel vulnerable into the person that chases them, right? So they'll find ways to poke at your insecurities or to make you feel like you're not good enough because they're actually feeling those things, but they want you to feel that way too so that they can alleviate their feelings of feeling that way. I hope that makes sense. And that doesn't make them a bad person. It makes them a hurt person, and hurt people. But I do feel like this connection makes them feel very emotional, and they don't know how to handle that. And so I don't think they handle it in the best way. This person's energy toward Taurus. This person's energy toward Taurus, please. This person's energy toward Taurus. The Knight of Pentacles in reverse. Page of Pentacles. Empress. The Judgment in reverse. I feel like, and I kind of alluded to this when we were talking about your side of things, this person kind of looks for you to like take care of them in a way, like almost like be like a mother figure to them, like even if you're a male, like just someone like or a father figure, right? Like just someone very nurturing to them. But then what happens is you can provide them with that all day long, but they don't ever reciprocate that. So then you're left being like, heck. I feel like they're very stuck in their ways. Stubborn, I guess, a little bit. And I feel like that's why, like, it's like you have certain expectations of them, of who they could be if they would just heal or learn to be vulnerable or learn to love themselves or whatever the case is. But I don't feel like they necessarily think that they need to change much. This person's energy toward Taurus. This person's energy toward Taurus, please. See, there's the Emperor in reverse. You have the Knight of Pentacles upright. And the Hangman. See, they control this because they don't know how to surrender to it. So I do feel like they might have a history of sabotaging, like they could have a history of like failed friendships or just a history of failed relationships in general. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but they could have that history, and instead of like learning from these failed relationships, maybe doing a little bit of like placing blame or choosing not to take accountability and things like that. So I do feel like the way that this connection kind of unfolded, it's pretty typical for them in a way. Not that you are just like everyone else to them. That's not what I'm saying. I just mean like they're kind of like sabotaging, not really opening up and being vulnerable, like not really investing in this to the fullest. Like all of that is very, very typical for them. Like the need for control, right? With the Emperor in reverse. And that keeps them from being able to actually build a connection. And so I feel like a lot of their connections have been very surface level. And you wanted something more than that, right? Like you wanted something that was an actual deep, emotional connection. And maybe this person showed you glimpses of that. I'm not saying they didn't. But I just feel like they were never able to fully like show up and be vulnerable in the way that you were ultimately deserving of. This person's energy toward Taurus. Okay, Queen of Pentacles. See, they don't feel deserving of you. And I feel like because of that, so Queen of Pentacles with the Lovers in reverse, and then this Page of Cups, which kind of, oh my gosh, and that Hermit. It's like because they didn't feel deserving of you, it's almost like they then in turn, like, wanted you to feel undeserving of them in a way. So that you would bear the burden of that insecurity and they didn't have to. But they don't feel good enough for you. I feel like you're struggling to feel good enough for them. And I feel like a lot of that probably stems from the fact that you're like, well, why won't they be vulnerable or show up for me or heal for me or whatever the case is? And in reality, they can't be vulnerable. They don't love themselves, right? With the Lovers in reverse, they're struggling to fully love themselves and feel deserving of love themselves. So of course they're not going to be able to show up and love you in the way that you deserve. They aren't able to do that for themselves yet. But I feel like, so, they have this level of feeling undeserving. I don't feel like that's something they're facing on a conscious level. I feel like that's something they're probably pushing down and searching for a band-aid in kind of surface level connections. And this connection was not surface level, and it made them feel emotional, which made them feel uncomfortable, which is why they probably sabotaged or tried to control, came off as manipulative, or whatever the case was. And so it's like you hit your breaking point because it's like you see this potential, you know who they could be, but they continue not to show up in that way, which then in turn frustrates the hell out of you, understandably so. So I feel like the reason that you're holding on is because you see so much potential in this person and in this connection. But your advice from the universe right now is to set boundaries, because I don't feel like this person has done any of the work on themselves to be able to be what it is that you deserve. Now, with the past life and the Page of Wands in reverse, I feel like this is not the first time you've ran into a person that has treated you this way in connections. This person's energy toward Taurus. It's almost like the reflection. Ooh, there's the Ten of Cups again. The Queen of Cups in reverse. The King of Swords in reverse. Yeah, okay. So it's not that they didn't see the potential here either with the Ten of Cups. It's that their emotions caused them to like, it's almost like, because the King of Swords in reverse can be like being a little bit manipulative, like again, like trying to control the other person or the situation because the situation makes them feel out of control. And so they let their emotions get the better of them. They let their emotions control them. Their kind of sabotage take over. So I feel like if your question is like, did this person even actually care about me? The answer is yes. But it goes a little bit further than that. It's that they care about you. They cared, take it as resonates about you. But the way this made them feel challenged them in a way that they weren't really comfortable with. And so that's why they acted the way they did. It pushed them out of their comfort zone. They didn't know how to handle it. They sabotaged or kind of like self-combusted. Like, I don't know. That word keeps coming to mind. But I also feel like this is something that, with the past life and the Page of Wands in reverse, it's almost like they're a reflection of a connection that you experienced in childhood. So for instance, sometimes when someone makes us feel unlovable or isn't being vulnerable or isn't showing up for us in the way that we deserve, we can often look for that person to then make us feel lovable, because what that person is they're a reflection of how we felt unlovable in the past, how our parents have made us feel unlovable, or other situations that we've been involved in. So we then look for them to love us or show up for us or be what it is that we deserve, so that we can heal those feelings of feeling unlovable and undeserving, when in reality that's not, sometimes that keeps us stuck in cycles of hoping for someone to change and getting disappointed when they don't, because people don't change for other people. They change when they think they have to, and unfortunately that's going to be whenever they need to, not when you need them to, right? It's a really hard thing to come to terms with. But I feel like, if anything, it's not that, it's interesting because I feel like this person made you feel undeserving. They made you feel not good enough because they wouldn't open up to you. They wouldn't be vulnerable for you. But the thing is they don't feel deserving of you. And there's nothing you can do to change that, because that's their own lack of self-love. This person's energy toward Taurus, please. This person's energy toward Taurus, please. Yeah, there's a King of Cups in reverse. See, their communication is emotionally abusive. That's what this is saying. Emotionally manipulative. But the thing is I don't feel like they mean to be that way. That's how they keep control. I don't necessarily feel like this is a bad person. I feel like they're unhealed. I feel like they haven't done a lot of introspection. They haven't taken a lot of accountability for the way that they've messed up in relationships, but I don't think that they're a bad person by any means. I do think that that's why you need to set boundaries right now, is because their lack of vulnerability is coming out as mistreatment toward you. And that is something that you should not. You can love someone unconditionally to the ends of the earth, but that does not mean that you ever have to tolerate or put up with their treatment of you, even if you can understand why they do it, right? Have empathy, understand where they're coming from, forgive them for the way that they are, but that doesn't mean that you accept that treatment or tolerate that, or that that's anywhere close to what you deserve. So when I talk about this, the goal again is like to see their side, see their perspective, see where they're coming from, so that you can heal, right? Not so you can, like, I'm not trying to say like, oh, stay involved with this person, they just need to heal, because that's the whole thing, right? You don't want to ever feel like you have to wait for someone to heal and decide to learn how to be vulnerable and show up for you in order to be happy. So I think you can be pretty certain that they did have, they did see kind of the long-term potential of this too, but that within itself, I feel like kind of freaked them out and caused them this need of them to have to control, because they didn't know how to handle that. And so that's why I feel like it came out in the form of mistreatment. And that's why right now the universe is saying, hey, you need to set a boundary, because they're not able to be vulnerable. And then for you, you have this past life with the Page of Wands in reverse. It's almost like this is something that you've dealt with before. And it's not just in this person. It's like something you've dealt with before. I don't know. Take that as it resonates. But we're going to hop on over to the extended, looking at what the purpose of this connection is and what is the best way to move forward in alignment with your higher self. I have that growth with the Three of Swords in reverse. I'm pulling 9 different messages, and then I have an advice card for you at the very end. Thank you so much, Taurus, as always, for your support of my channel. I do hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you are needing today. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Taurus.